Hi, everybody. Welcome to Paste Studio on the Road. We're live right now from Pamnation headquarters in New York City with Making Movies. Fellas, thank you for joining us, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, congratulations to you guys in advance because Zopa is coming out into the world on June 17th. That is not so very many days from now, and you're about to share 2 songs from that with us. We're also going to hear a cover, the surprise of which I will not spoil. We'll just wait for when that happens. And what do you guys feel like doing first today?
We're going to do a song called Sala de los Pecadores, which is kind of a Making Movies style cumbia. So if you want to dance, if you're at home watching, you can move to it. But it's a cumbia for the sinners in the world. Let's give it a shot here. Hasta David el digno rey, en su desliz se comió de mamey.
Cigarro, una pastilla. Tengo un dolor intenso, doctor, no se me quita. Ya no duermo, nunca llego a la orilla. Noche tras noche se repite esta pesadilla. Tráeme una jeva que sea bien buena y ponla en mi cama. Sabe la hembra que mueve la cadera, linda tatuada. Vamos a ver si me cura el placer o me lleva a enloquecer. Perdí la fe, como te lloré. Desolado entré a la sala de los pecadores y te busqué, abrumado lloré. Al cielo grité, ya basta de los malos amores. El día que naciste nadie te dice entraste al eterno sufrir. El día que naciste nadie te dice entraste al eterno sufrir. Y se repite, se repite, se repite, se repite, me marea. Perdí la fe, como te lloré. Desolado entré a la sala de los pecadores y te busqué, abrumado lloré. Al cielo grité, ya basta de los malos amores. Ya basta de los malos amores. Hey. El día que naciste nadie te dice entraste al eterno sufrir. El día que naciste nadie te dice entraste al eterno sufrir. Y se repite, se repite, se repite y se repite.
All right. Thank you guys for coming and doing this on Thursday morning. Was waking up slow this morning. I'm awake now, so thanks for doing that. We really appreciate it. And can we talk a little bit about some of the musical cultures that have blended together to create this band and this album particularly? I mean, when I read the words Memphis soul and salsa sensibilities together, that's a delightful sentence to say.
Yeah, so Diego and I were born in Panama. Panama is a crisol, it's a melting pot of culture, just because the canal brought people from all over the world there. And so we are a mixed up identity just from being Panamanians. We have an American grandmother and a Chinese great-grandfather. That's why my name's Enrique Chi. But in Panama, the Caribbean rhythms that are really Afrocentric, you know, they're like the mambo, salsa, cumbia, merengue. That's what you still hear in taxis. That's what you still hear when you enter a club. And, you know, that's also the birthplace of the reggaeton beat that then became a genre in Puerto Rico. So that mixing of cultures like makes being that's so natural for a Panamanian, it's just like baked in. It felt natural for us. And when we immigrated to the United States, I met Juan Carlos, whose family's from Mexico, and we found a lot of common ground in the musical stylings, especially the folklore in Mexico, the Caribbean coast of Mexican music. And then when we added Duncan to the band, who was born and raised right outside of Kansas City, then we realized that like those stories are so connected. And we made the record in Memphis, which obviously has this history for American music. And I think that's kind of the statement, right? This is American music. If you look at America, like the hemisphere, the two continents, not just the United States of America. And even if you're looking at the United States, salsa music is a New York City thing. It's an American music genre, even if you're just being specific about the United States. So for us, it feels natural, though it might be surprising for others.
No, I agree with that very much. I've never felt more American than when doing this job. When Juan Soria, the dude who came here from Buenos Aires, is engineering, and we've got Panamanians, and we've got Mexicans, and we've got everybody here in Pam's living room. It's pretty American, man. It feels good.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoy it a lot.
That's great.
Can you talk to us a little bit about the cast of characters, the guest musicians that you had on the record? I mean, David Hidalgo it's amazing. There's some massive like world class best of all time talent on this record.
Yeah. So we've been just blessed to have mentors in our life, and that's kind of the message of the record. Is it's kind of going through a decade of our journey, the first decade of being a band together, and the blessing of having like folks like Los Lobos mentor us. David Hidalgo from Los Lobos, Steve Berlin from Los Lobos produced our first 3 albums, and they really took us under their wing. We learned a lot from them about what it means to devote your life to music. Then along the journey, Ruben Blades, we were talking about that, right? Because that's another story. He's a West Indian last name, and so really British last name that got to the West Indies, that got to Panama. So that's why people were like, blah, there's Blades. But that's part of that's that same story. We're all mixed up around here. And he discovered our music on the internet. This is kind of amazing. We can do this now and put music out there. And he fell in love with it and hit us up wanting to collaborate. And then that began another mentorship process for us where we studied under him. I mean, not in a formal way, but that's what was happening. We were taking notes as we co-wrote a couple songs together. And then as one of the songs had a political tone to it. And he really helped teach me, because I do most of the interviews, how to speak on these subjects in a way that can really reach people, but not be manipulated by the politics of life, And so it was a masterclass that we went through when we put out the song No Te Calles. And so those voices appear on the record, kind of representing the journey we actually went through, where those were voices in our lives that were like, hey, you're on the path, but like go a little bit this way and maybe refine over here and just focus yourself. And we've just had this blessing of being able to have those mentors in our life.
Nice. Good, man. Well, I'm glad for you guys that you had that chance to learn that. I mean, trying to strike a political tone inside of music and trying to make a song that people enjoy, but at the same time has something in it that matters, and you're trying to figure out the way to actually make that message penetrate without being preachy or a dickhead or any of that kind of stuff is tricky. It's a very, very fine line.
Yep.
Nice, man. Well, thank you for coming and doing this music with us here today. Are we going to hear another one from Zopa second?
Yeah, this song is called Porcelina. Also features our friends in the group Tennis. They collaborate with this song on it. And this song's dedicated to the amazing women who have been those counselors for us, that kind of have a divine ability to remind us of what we needed to hear before we even knew we needed to hear it. And Elaine has been one of those folks in my life, so it's a special thing to have gotten to make this song with her. All right, this is Porcelina. I'm going to take a sip of tea before I sing this one.
Ella camina al revés, Porcelina, y me jura que ha visto esa torre de Babel. Ella sabe que la vida es mucho más Caín que Abel, y me escribió este poema ahí en el pedacito de papel que dice: no esos temores que llevas ocultado en el fondo de tu ser. Ella sabe que la muerte es más rosa que clavel y me escribió este poema ahí en el pedacito de papel que dice: no quiero verte andar perdido en la vía del tren. No quiero verte tan aburrido, bebé. No quiero verte andar dormido en la vía Belén. Sé que crees que ocultas bien tus angustias, eso es mentira, se ven. Eso es mentira, se ven. Eso es mentira, se ven. Y ella dice: qué lástima verte vagando sin rumbo en la vía del tren. Sé que crees que nadie ve tus temores, que nadie te entiende. Bueno, ya cambia esa cara, ¿no ves? Todo saldrá bien. No quiero verte andar perdido en la vía del tren. No quiero verte tan aburrido, bebé. Sé que crees que ocultas bien tus angustias, eso es mentira, se ve. Eso es mentira, se ve. Eso es mentira, se ve. Ella camina al revés, Porcelina. Ella camina al revés, Porcelina. Yo no quiero verte. Ella camina al revés, Porcelina. Yo no quiero verte. Ella camina al revés, Porcelina. Yo no quiero verte tan aburrido, bebé. Me voy pa'l pueblo, hoy es mi día, voy a alegrar todo el alma mía. Me voy pa'l pueblo, hoy es mi día, voy a alegrar todo el alma mía. Me voy pa'l pueblo, hoy es mi día, voy a alegrar todo el alma mía. Me voy pa'l pueblo, hoy es mi día, voy a alegrar todo el alma mía. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Me voy pa'l pueblo, hoy es mi día, voy a alegrar todo el alma mía. Me voy pa'l pueblo, hoy es mi día, voy a alegrar todo el alma mía. Thank you.
Remind me, what's that thing called? The percussion instrument that you hit very last?
I actually don't know.
It's like
a ding dong.
jawbone or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Sounds
it's almost like a
like a donkey jaw. I think like way back in the day.
Yeah.
It sounds good though.
Yeah, it does. I'm very glad that there was an appropriate moment to use that, man. It's
Thank
just
you, Pamnation.
yeah.
This thing.
Have you guys been lucky enough to be out on the road and doing stuff and touring throughout the Troubles, or is this the first time you guys have really been out on the road and a proper tour since everything went weird?
It's definitely the first time. I mean, we started making this album, Sopa. We kind of discovered the studio in Memphis and realized that Memphis is kind of an amazing place to record because there's talented soul musicians there. You can get Reverend Hodges, the Al Green's organist, to show up to a studio session. Like he lives up the block or whatever. So we're like, oh my God, this is the place to make the record. We started to cook on it, and we were in the studio when South by canceled, and we had a bunch of important stuff to do. We're like, South by canceled. I texted Steve Berlin of Los Lobos. I was like, yo, dude, you've been on tour for like 30 some years. Like, have you ever had a concert canceled because of a virus? He's like, no. Like, this is new to all of us. It's like,
Yeah. That was the day that it was real for me also. It's like, wait a minute, what just happened? All right.
Casinos in Vegas, like, they closed down. I said, oh, all right, they're losing money? Okay, this is real.
This is real. Yeah, agreed. Right, the whole city. Exactly. We had the same experience. So this is the first time back out, and it feels amazing to play music again.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be at I think Summerfest is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the biggest concert in the country. I think. I mean, it takes place over a couple of weekends, but it's massive. Should be a lot of fun. Travel safely, please, between all those things and enjoy it. You've got Mercury tonight, which should be a blast. They've just revamped their whole system, so it's going to sound and look world class. And are there any in particular you're looking forward to? I saw there's Mexico City and Monterrey, Mexico as well on the tour schedule. So it looks like there's a lot of cool stuff in between now and all the way through October 9th.
Yeah, totally. Ton of cool stuff. Machaca in Monterrey, Mexico. So pumped about that. We're also launching our own festival in Kansas City, September 10th. We haven't announced the lineup yet, but for those who are in the Midwest, hold that date. We're trying to cultivate and curate something with the same message of like, this is American music. Check it out. We can have a blues artist and have a Latin American artist, and there's a lot more in common there than you may realize on the surface.
Well, that's very much in line with the mission statement of these Paste Magazine sessions. So should you want to run sessions on site, I know two guys to do that.
Hey, that's a brilliant idea. Let's do that.
Yeah, man. What's the festival called?
It's called Celebrate Americana. So kind of misspelling the Americana with a K to be like, this is a different way to look at Americana.
Nice, man. Well, I look forward to that. I hope to be in Kansas City on September 10th and celebrate Americana with you. And man, this is a total pleasure. We've got still one more song coming up, which is not on the upcoming record Zopa, but sounded delightful in soundcheck. Can't wait to share it with our audience now.
Yeah, absolutely. And this song is special for us. We actually started playing it. We were on tour in New York and heard it like overhead somewhere, and it was right at the time where the political discourse just changed, and the lyrics of this song really spoke to us, and we're like, well, let's see if we can make a version that represents kind of what we feel about this music, and I feel a pride to be likely one of the only human beings playing this instrument in New York City right now in 2022. This is a mejorana. This is a Panamanian instrument that they still only make them handmade, and the story of this instrument is that the Spaniards brought over guitars to Latin America, but in Panama, the indigenous folk and the enslaved folks, they wanted to imitate it, but they didn't have the technology to do the bracing and all that stuff. So what they did is they just carved it out of one piece of wood, like a little baby canoe, and slap a top on top of it and imitated a guitar. And so carrying on this tradition is part of I feel like our responsibility as musicians in the world to remind people of where things come from. But when we got to Panama, Juan Carlos was hearing this rhythm that's more or less like this. This is a zapatero rhythm in Panama, and they were doing a folkloric dance, and Juan Carlos grew up dancing folklore, and he's like, man, that sounds a hell of a lot like a huapango rhythm. So Juan Carlos, show him what a huapango in Mexico sounds like. Duncan grew up in the Kansas City area, and he grew up playing gospel music, soul music, playing at church, and then playing the Kansas City Blues Shuffle, which comes from New Orleans up the river all the way to Kansas City. So give us as best you can a Kansas City blues shuffle here. And so as we move forward as a band, we realize that what we need to demand of our audience and of the people that are with us is just demand leaders that understand this more, that understand that all these things are more connected than they are separate. So we'll do it all together here. So this is Zapatero, Huapango, and Duncan.
A morning with us. Have a great show at Mercury. Jesus.
Great
I gotta
show at
sleep
Mercury.
more than I do, man. Have a great show at Mercury Lounge tonight, and travel safely, please, between all those dates. And best of luck on Zopa. It comes out into the world on June 17th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, see you guys next time.
See you.
That's that. We did it.
Yay.